Okay, there we go. It's going. All right, sorry about that, Junkie Nation. We had a little technical difficulty there. So let's start the show over real quick. Um we'll dispense with the intros and all that other kind of stuff. You know who we are for all intents and purposes. Um, but real quick, let's go back. Let's start. Let's revisit the Oscars. Who saw the Oscars today or yesterday?
I saw him.
Mike saw them because he was
Hmm.
kind of forced to see them. But you know, that being what it is, I mean, married life. What you gonna do, right?
Hey, what you gonna do, man?
What you gonna do, man? GQ, did you see the Oscars?
No, but I heard that Leo finally got his Oscar,
Yes,
so that's a good
he
thing.
did. He did. But like I was trying to say before, did we think that this was the role that he deserved to get the Oscar for, or was there another role, you know, that he probably should have gotten it for and he didn't get it? And if so, which one is that?
Uh, I thought he should have got Best Supporting Actor for What's Eating Gilbert Grape long ago. If anybody ever saw that movie, he played somebody with special needs. He was brilliant.
Hmm.
So that's the only one I can think of to me. He's done something else, but that's the only one that really stands out to me so far. Hell, I think he should have probably gone for the Wolf of Wall Street. That movie was also great.
Your
Okay.
phone's acting weird, or your headset rather. But I agree with what you said about Wolf of Wall Street and also What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, I think just like uh, Denzel should have got an Oscar long before Training Day. Leo probably should have got an Oscar long before Revenant, and for Kate Winslet to end up winning an Oscar on her first film along with side him for Titanic, and he got Zip is insane in my opinion. But it I don't know. I think whatever it is, whoever was holding him back in the Academy has probably finally died, and he is able to get his Oscar, long overdue Oscar. So here we are.
Yeah, he's been in some pretty good movies. Played some really good roles, man.
I liked him a lot in Inception. I think Inception was a good movie, but I'm glad he didn't win an Oscar for that one. Actually, no. Did I want him to win an Oscar? I think I wanted him to win that year, but
Hmm.
I think he was nominated that year for Inception. I can't remember. But almost every movie I've seen him in was is a great movie, you know?
Yep, I do. You know, Leo's a great actor, and obviously, um, he finally got his just desserts. And obviously he's young enough; he's going to be acting for a long while. And being, you know, the caliber actor that he is, how many more Oscars do you think he's going to get, guys?
I think he has at least two more underneath his belt, easily.
You think he has two more
Um,
underneath his belt?
Like, okay, gang.
Right.
right. I think you can see him getting one or two more.
Uh-huh.
Because if you even look back, Jack Nicholson, as great as an actor as he was, he only I think won one or two in his lifetime. So I mean, it seems like again, and it goes back to what we've always said: the Academy is just an antiquated, really odd um, organization as far as the voting goes. Because it's like some of the stuff that they give Oscars to, you're just sitting there scratching your head, like, what makes this so much better than any of the other stuff that it's going up against? So I don't know. I almost would love to see the Oscars completely get like torn down from the top all the way to the bottom, but it's not going to happen. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
around for
It's too
forever.
established. It's the
Yeah,
establishment.
but I mean,
Literally, it is
yeah,
the
but I would,
establishment.
yeah, I would love to see it just reorganized and get some young blood in there mixed in with the old, the old heads or whatever,
Hmm.
so we can actually get some interesting categories, interesting nominations and everything. Because there's even been times when they say some of the Oscar people haven't even seen some of the films that they nominate. So it's like, to me, if you're supposed to be a movie watcher and a movie goer and all that other sort of thing, you should see everything, regardless of whether you think it's going to be good or not, because that's not your job to decide that until it comes to Oscar season and in the time to make the nominations and all that other sort of
Right.
thing. So
Now,
I
Mike,
think that,
you're the big time movie like artsy movie connoisseur out of us. Besides Megashawn, I mean, well, Megashawn doesn't see that many artsy movies, but you're a film. You're a theologian, I guess, of films. You study film.
You
Um,
silly.
anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is like leading off of what GQ was saying about the Oscars. The thing
I
with me
just
that
tuned back in. I got lost for a second. What was he saying?
he was saying just how the Oscars, how we love to see the Oscars torn down, basically the Academy, I guess, torn down and get infused with some young blood. And I'm for that because to me the Oscars don't appeal to me because it's always a bunch of films that I've either never heard of or I really don't give a crap about. So do you think would you like to see more genre films up for some of these awards because those are the ones that seem to make the money, instead of the artsy films? Or would do you feel like something would be lost if they did that?
Ah, man, that is a good question, man. Um, well, you know, one of the reasons why they, show those types of films, man, is because I guess they kind of like stick into the whole art side of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I don't think that's to say that you should rule out, some of the more mainstream ones, man. I mean, they're really good movies. I mean, a good movie is a good movie, you
Hmm.
know. But uh, mm, hey, that's a good question.
Well,
Um,
it looks like I stumped Mike for the day, so we'll move on.
yeah,
Well, real
So
quick,
yeah,
but
I don't
I
know,
mean,
yeah,
what
go
you're
man.
ahead.
saying is kind of what the MTV awards are. It's all those really dumbed down
Now,
awards,
yeah,
and
and see, and I guess
so
I can't respect it, award shows like the MTV Movie Awards because while yes, they do appeal to our types of films, at the same time, it's like the award show itself makes a caricature of itself. It's like,
No,
it's always
that's
like a big.
see, but no. You're thinking of the MTV Movie Awards now. The MTV
Hmm.
Movie Awards, when they originally started, was actually almost like a young Oscar show.
Hmm.
It was like, yeah, they had some of the parody stuff and some of the skits and whatnot, and the Oscars actually have borrowed and stole some of that from them. But the MTV Movie Awards, when it first started, was a slightly more serious thing, and it was basically an award show for the fans, essentially voted on by the fans. So it started off as a decent award show, and
Hmm.
then as things get popular, you already know how that goes. It kind of got watered down and strayed away from what they originally started with.
Hmm. Well, Mr. Pessimistic, got anything to add? Would you want to see like the Oscars, kind of the Academy, I should say, done away with and kind of reshaped into something a little more meaningful for people
Yeah,
our age?
it's time for a revamp. That whole system is old, it's tired and whatnot. And as far as the I don't want to say artsy fartsy films, but I just said it anyway. That's kind of what Sundance is for.
Hmm.
Sundance usually kind of handles that a little bit better than the Oscars, and the simple fact that you got people that's in the on the board nominating films that they never even seen and whatnot. Well, how are you going to nominate it for Best Picture or Best Art Design if you haven't even seen the film? I mean, it's you're not even doing your job. So it needs to be torn down and it needs to be restructured. The whole thing because I haven't seen the Oscars since I was 16, so
Yeah.
it needs a revamp. Though it definitely needs a revamp.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Kahuna's like something with that voice, man. You sounded like Dr. Claw right now. Uh, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll get you Gadget. Wish you could run one of them for us, but whatever. Um, let's move on. What did anybody see either Supergirl or Gotham today? Gotham has been off for a while, so GQ, you said you saw Gotham, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Well, tonight on Gotham, they decided to, this is their first night back from the winter break. And of course, with it being a winter break, they decided to go along with the Mr. Freeze. Now, here's the funny thing. They said that the proper pronunciation for his last name is Frice, not Freeze. So I don't know if that's supposed to be Kanan. I don't know if that's just some silly little thing they threw in there, but whatever. I mean, they tried to tell the story of Victor Freeze that we all know and love. They of course made it for TV. It wasn't as elaborate as it could be. The guy they got playing him, he plays it fairly okay. I mean, nothing special. Essentially, it's one of those situations where he's getting people and abducting people, trying to experiment on them, so he can, find the cure to
For his
essentially
wife.
freeze his wife.
Yeah.
No, no, no. The thing is, his wife is, living right now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
she's, and interacting with him and all that, but she's, terribly sick.
Right.
So it's kind
Okay.
of going into the story of how he goes, to basically freeze her and put her in cryostasis, and so he can find a cure for what she's got. But of course, the other part of that is, well, if I'm going to freeze you, I need to know how to bring you back. So he's been doing experiments trying to figure out how to freeze people and bring them back, before he, obviously freezes his wife. So it's going to be that sort of thing. They're showing the promo that he's going to be leading into next week, going to actually have the suit, the actual suit that we all know and love, because he did have the gun, and it was pretty cool. But again, and they also had B.D. Wong, who, some of you may know from Law and Order,
Mhm.
as the I'm sorry, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, as
Mhm.
the criminal psychologist or the
Mhm.
psychologist, and also he was in Jurassic World. He showed up as Hugo Strange, and I have to give it to him. Looks exactly like him, straight out of the comics, straight out of Arkham City and
Mhm.
Arkham Asylum and all that.
Mhm.
Really played it really well. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. He's going to be in next week's episode as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go with that.
Now, is this yet another case of where they're? I mean, to you, you're a big Batman fan. I'm a big Batman fan, despite what people may believe about me. Um, but do you think that this is just another example of them mucking with the mythology a little too much? I mean, because Mr. Freeze's origin that we grew up with was so closely tied to Batman being there. Do you think this kind of uh, is another example of them just doing a little too much?
I don't think in this case I think it's okay, because if you look back in the animated series, Mr. Freeze, just basically kind of showed up, and they learned about what happened, with his wife and all that sort of thing, throughout the episode. Same thing with even going into actually, I don't even want to bring up that movie, but going into the Arnold movie,
Yes, let's not.
it
Yes,
was the
let's talk
same
about it.
thing. Yeah, it was the same. It was almost like Freeze had already kind of been established, and he
Hmm.
was, and Batman just basically kind of like was introduced to him essentially because he was committing crimes. So
Hmm.
I don't really mind them going into Freeze's backstory, because again, Freeze has always been portrayed as a guy that's quite a bit older than Bruce, at
Hmm.
least about 15 to 20 years or
Hmm.
more
Hmm.
older. So with it being like him, younger, and his wife, basically still being alive, and we're getting to kind of see the story of what was going on, I don't really mind it, in this particular instance. Same thing with Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange, you would have to imagine, being a doctor, had to have been in operation long before Batman himself showed up. So, I mean, I don't really have a problem with Hugo Strange being there either. As long as they don't like throw the Joker in there quite a bit older than Batman, then we're good.
Okay. All right. Did anybody else see Gotham today?
That would be a negative.
No.
Nope. Nope. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on real quick. I'll touch on. I did watch Supergirl today. We'll touch on it just a little bit. Uh, a fairly unremarkable episode, I want to say. I mean, yeah, we had Indigo slash Brainiac 8 show up, and she kind of did her Monster of the Week type thing, played by
Hold on.
Laura Vandervoot, the old Supergirl from Smallville. Go ahead,
Wait,
GQ. What are you gonna say?
real quick. You mean that girl wearing that Mystique costume?
Yes, that would be her. In fact, it's ironic you say that because my daughter, when she came home from going shopping with her grandmother, she walked down and she saw the screen. She was like, Mystique? That was the first thing she said. She's like, Mystique? What's Mystique doing there? I was like, that's not Mystique. But anyway, a fairly unremarkable episode. Nothing really. I mean, the only kind of big thing that kind of happened was Alex revealed that she was the one that killed Karazhan, and they played that for whatever emotional weight they could wring out of that. Also, Lucy broke up with Jimmy because she realized that Jimmy is in love with Kara and she's in love with him, and she doesn't want to be in the way. Never mind that, the whole, she thought he was pining over Supergirl, which unbeknownst to her, he really is. But then the other thing I saw is that at the end of the episode, after Indigo was destroyed, Nan put her back together using the Omega Hedron from the original Supergirl movie. It was the same orb. It was spinning in his hand, and he just waved it over Indigo's body, and it put her back together, just like the Omega Hedron did in the original movie. So, I thought that was kind of an interesting little nod back to the Superman family history type thing, even though the movie itself, Supergirl, was unremarkable, just like this episode was. So,
Well, hold on. What about the whole Jimmy taking her to the Fortress of Solitude thing,
well,
man?
I mean, even that was, taking her to the Fortress of Solitude, that was kind of a nice nod too, but they didn't really spend any time there. They didn't explore it. It was like literally they were in and out. It was like they went there, they talked to Kellex a little bit, Superman's robot, if you guys didn't know. But they talked to Kellex a little bit, got a little information about Kaluans and Indigo, and then after that, over with. They didn't explore, didn't see any, exotic animals, any fantastic weaponry. Uh, the nice nod was, the key to the Fortress of Solitude, made out of folded dwarf star metal. Whatever.
Which was again, well, that was cool. But I mean, I don't know. If I was Superman, I'd be a little bit pissed at Jimmy for bringing, yes, even though that's his cousin, bringing her to the Fortress of Solitude and walking in unannounced. Because I mean, Lois might have been trying to get some little bit of alone time or something, for all we know. And in comes Jimmy Olsen and Kara,
Yeah.
like just walking in, like like it's got the key to the mansion. So I mean,
Uh,
that I don't know.
I'm sure there's plenty of
I,
warmer spots in Metropolis than flying up to the Arctic North
Hey,
for a little
hey,
alone time.
hey, Superman 2. Where did they end up doing the deed? In the
Yeah.
Fortress of
Okay.
Solitude.
All
So I don't
right.
want to hear it.
You got me there. Okay. All right, guys. Moving right along. We talked about everything that we were going to talk about. So let's move on to the main, what brought us to the show today. And today's Anime Day, Animation Day, and I asked a polling question earlier today in the Facebook discussion group what people kind of wanted to talk about. And I have to thank the mighty DRE for giving us this topic. And today we're gonna talk about anime fans and basically what kind of made us anime fans. And so we're gonna kind of go over the listing of our anime starter pack, what kind of made us fans of anime, and what we would recommend to anybody that wants to kind of start being into anime. And this is discounting Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, some of the stuff that you can commonly find everywhere that's kind of invaded the marketplace. Like we're talking about the stuff that they don't show you on TV, the stuff that really instills some kind of a passion in you for the art form. So Dadakuji, you're a pretty big anime fan, just like me. So what would you consider your 5 items that you would put in your anime starter pack if you had to think about it?
Let's see. Well, for people starting anime today and no Dragon Ball, no One Piece, no Naruto,
Hmm.
uh, it does depend on the age group. But being the fact that I was a young guy watching stuff that I supposedly wasn't supposed to see when I was that age, I don't really care. So let's go. Right now, I'm watching the Seven Deadly Sins, and the
Hmm.
Seven Deadly Sins is a Netflix exclusive apparently, and I think that's one that could get people started. It has, the blood in it, has the violence in it, and it also has cute, etchy, stuff that gets the stupid young boys to watch. Not a whole bunch, no nudity, but kind of like the pervy stuff, kind of like Haposai and Rama One
Rama.
Half.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit like that. I think that one's really, really good. If you want to go for extremely violent, like if you want to get into that type, I would say Tokyo Ghoul.
Hmm.
That, boy,
Hmm.
my goodness, I cannot
Mhm.
believe that. I thought that was going to be like the same old BS where you got a character who, gets this power, doesn't want to, be a part of this, and basically pusses out every chance he gets. And that character was not that. It was the first time in the anime I saw a character say, you know what, I'm not going to be able, I can't do this. And he just a complete 180 and became basically, I wouldn't say he's a villain, but I was amazed.
Well, I look at it like this: Tokyo Ghoul, and not to cut you off, of course I'll let you finish. I'm not trying to Taylor Swift you, but Tokyo Ghoul for me, it flipped the script and it kind of set the tone within the first 2 minutes. Just when dude was on that date with that high-looking girl, pink hair, and she started to eat him alive. I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah, no,
You
no, no.
know?
I mean, with that, it was really, really,
Yeah,
violent ass. I'm just talking
yeah.
about the main character. Like
Oh
you
no,
see
no,
a
I
lot of
get you.
anime.
No, I certainly get you. Yes, I certainly get you on that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so continue. What else would you put in your starter pack? You listed two. So what are your other
Uh,
three?
well, there's a few of them that, like, if you want a short series, No Game No Life was amazing. I was a little bit upset that they only did 13 episodes, but if you like video games like I do, and you think you're extremely good, and you have somewhere to relate these, you had the brother and sister who just are unbeatable in video games, kind of like a legend on the internet, get sucked into a world where everything is game related. I thought that one was really, really good. Um, what's the name of it? Food Wars.
Shokugeki no
Food. I
Soma.
love eating,
Yes, love
and
that.
I don't know too
Love
many
that
people
show.
who don't like eating, but Food Wars was another one. It's just like, I have a thing for cooking anime. Like, that's the only one I think could be a starter because
hmm
it's flashy, it's extremely colorful, and they're really likable characters.
And it's offbeat.
So
It's offbeat because I mean, one of the things about anime that always kind of amazes me is that they can take any subject and make a compelling series out of it. I mean,
yeah,
literally. I mean, cooking. You wouldn't think cooking would be a good anime, but no, Food Wars is definitely one of them.
yeah, it is definitely.
What would be your last one, man?
I'm not sure if this falls in that category of Naruto and Dragon Ball, but Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail, don't let the name fool you. It sounds
No, it
stupid.
doesn't. It doesn't because it's not in the mainstream like that.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So
But
no, it
Fairy
would
Tail
not.
is something I think would also bring people in. It's kind of like Naruto-esque, where you got a character that's just more mouth. I mean, he's extremely powerful. He doesn't really think too much about what he's doing before he does it. But at the same time, he's got a group. It's not really about him. It's about the entire guild. And you got people who are way stronger than he is, likable characters, a lot of sometimes deep subjects. So, I think that one will pull people in. And on a side, not a side note, what do you call that? An extra. I'm gonna give you an extra one. Is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, not the OVA.
I'm surprised that you didn't even put that in there from the jump. So
No,
I'm
I should have put
surprised.
that in there from the jump,
Yeah.
but not the OVAs. Though the OVAs were great. The TV series,
That just came out like last year, a couple years ago.
yeah, that oh my goodness! Like, I love Bizarre Adventure just off the OVAs, but they really took the manga and they animated the manga, and they did a great job with it.
Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you for those. We're going to move to Mr. Mike Bison, who's probably going to go slant a little bit old school with his selection. So,
Oh yeah.
what would you put in your anime starter pack, my friend?
Who? How many do I get to pick?
Just five. Just give me your top five if you got five.
Ooh, shit. Let's see. Akira, Fist of the North Star, Go-Go 13,
Oh, my man.
Wicked City.
Uh-huh.
Hold on, give me a second. Crying Freeman.
Thank you, man. I was waiting for you to say that. I was waiting for you to say that. No, look, man. I mean, literally, every single one that you picked was my gateway into that deeper realm of being an anime fan. Because like every single one, that guy right there, Crying Freeman. I mean, dude,
Crying Freeman
it
was that deal. That
I
got
was-
me. This was one of the anime that I was watching, and I cannot believe my father let me watch. I watched it with my father. There were scenes where he's banging these chicks, and I'm like, what?
Right. How old were
I've
you?
never seen
how,
anything
how,
like
old,
that.
how old were you when you were watching that with your
I
dad?
think I was probably like 12.
Wow.
Oh,
11 or
wow.
12.
Wow.
No joke.
Wow. Now look, those of you watching at home, I mean, yeah, we may be showing our age with some of these picks, but I have to tell you, no matter what age you are, you got to see these because it's like they don't make them like this anymore. I mean, literally, you
No.
think that's a
No.
cliche. They don't make them like this anymore. For real, they don't. They don't make them like this anymore. Where a lot of stuff is like canned and cliched and stuff like that. No, this stuff was hard hitting. It really got you like right away from the jump. It
Yeah.
got you. it got you from the jump. So Mike, you had some really really good picks, man. Thank you for that. Mr.
No
Pessimistic,
problem.
come on up. What do you got as a kind of a top
First
five?
of all, my hats off to Mike because he literally took like three out of my five. So uh, I'm gonna have to go with Grab Baki. Is probably one of my most
Not
favorite
bad, not bad, not bad.
fighting anime that was ever out. Um, Pat Labor. I really
Palibor,
enjoyed
okay.
Pat Labor because when Robotech slash Macross went off the air in the United States, I was kind of aching for that robot filling out, and Pat Labor filled the void for me. Um, uh, this one is kind of on the lines of Wicked City, but it was a film called Demon City Shinjuku.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That one was, I mean, it didn't give me nightmares, but if you got a soft stomach and, a little squeamish, you might want to avoid that one, but I'll go ahead and put that one in there and whatnot. Um, uh, let me see. I guess another one. Now he already said this, the North Star, but another one that I got to see like in high school because my ROTC teachers were really cool was Ninja Scroll, and that one
Oh,
me
you,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
oh
that just
yeah.
set me over here. I mean, after that, like I started learning how to draw and whatnot, and I mean, it's there's more, but I don't want to take everybody's time up, so I'm just gonna leave it with just those right
No,
there. So
no, Ninja Scroll is like that one that
Yep.
like that everybody just has to see, regardless of what age you are. It's like, dude, have you ever seen this? Yeah, you saw Naruto, but did you see this? Did you see this? I mean, this sets the bar. I mean, literally sets the bar. I'm not sure if there's been any standalone movie that's reached Ninja Scroll as far as anime is concerned. Like, it's just as far as like being a absolute classic. Like, you got to watch it. Ninja
and
Scroll
something
is
that you
probably
mentioned
like,
earlier was that like they definitely do not make them like they used to.
no,
Like
they
that
no they don't, and
the
it
80s
makes it sad.
and early 90s was to me was like kind of like not necessarily the golden age, but it was like no holds bar, like no
Hmm.
limits, like whatever you come up with, whatever you can create, we'll go ahead and fund it and do it. But now, like a lot of stuff now is really really came. I haven't checked out Tokyo Ghoul yet, but since he talked about the first 2 minutes, I'm probably gonna start watching that tonight.
Okay, we're getting some, some of our fellow culture junkies are in the chat, and they're throwing out some suggestions. So I'm gonna throw one at you guys, and you kind of, chime in and tell me what you think. If you think these are, if these are worthy to be in the starter pack, like if you were to put it in there. Let's start out with Philip 2.0 pointed out the Fatal Fury OVAs. Would you put those in there?
Mhm.
No,
No, no. I mean, the Fatal Fury OVAs and the movies were good, but no, I wouldn't. I
They
wouldn't
haven't
count
no.
they
those
haven't
as. It's
lasted.
like you got to know what Fatal Fury is. And these kids nowadays, they don't know what the heck Fatal Fury is. They barely know King of Fighters, if they know King of the Fighters. So, nah. I mean, it was good, but I don't know. Vampire Hunter D, I do think I would stick that in there and say, hey,
I agree.
you cut your chops on that, but like, I don't know how many of these kids like their attention span, or just even people, adults. If it's adults that have not really watched anime, I definitely would show them the stuff that we cut our teeth on, and then
Hmm.
hopefully they can move on from there. But yeah, Ninja Scroll is definitely one of them I would definitely show to people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another suggestion. What about Appleseed? The
Yes,
original Appleseed
Oh
from the
man.
begin, the other
yes,
one, not the 3D animated one, but the original one.
yes, definitely yes to be original.
Yeah.
Appleseed made by the same creator, Masamune Shiro, the same creator of Ghost in the Shell. So you would put that in the starter pack. You think that would stand the test of time? Okay. Um,
Absolutely.
okay. What about Vampire Hunter D?
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. There's one of
Yeah.
them, which I don't know why none of us here mentioned it. It's
I
Cowboy
know.
Bebop.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
see. I was going to get to that. You didn't let me get there. I was going to get to that. In fact, it's in the thumbnail for the video. But I mean, this starter pack is kind of growing, man. I mean, we're trying to essence this thing down into distill it into like fine wine. You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
So I mean,
Cowboy Bebop
we
is
can't we
definitely a
can't put
number
them
one
all
in
in
there.
there. Like this one, Philip 2.0 just put in the chat. MD Geist, MD Geist, pretty good. I wouldn't put it in the starter pack. I'm sorry. I think there's other films that
Yeah.
we could do that would get it better than this one. Um, So I'll do one more and then I'll get the GQ starter pack. What about Angel Cop? See that you had to think about it that long, you probably say no. That you had to think about it
Yeah,
that long,
I
you
probably
probably
would.
say no. Probably say no. Poetic Fire, who's joining us on Twitch, just said Yu Yu Hakusho, and the only reason I would say no to Yu Yu Hakusho is because it's just below Dragon Ball Z because it was on Toonami for so long. That's when Yu Yu Hakusho was on there, it filled the void for Dragon Ball Z after Dragon Ball Z ended its run on Toonami, and then they put Yu Yu Hakusho on, and it was like it just picked up right where it left off. So,
Yeah, it didn't give any. It didn't really leave any breathing room.
no, no, they didn't, because they had. I mean, because DBZ was so popular, they had to find something of the same vein.
Yeah,
So,
find something to that
yeah,
void.
so I wouldn't put it in the starter pack. No. Uh, let's see. What about okay, GQ? Let's get to your starter pack. What would you put in there? I mean, I know you're not as much of a fan of anime now as you were back in the day, but kind of give us what you would, you know, if you had to start somebody off with some anime, and some of your choices, yes, may have been listed, but that's okay. You know, what would you put in there?
Well, I remember Angel Cop. I mean, I got the series, and I actually threw a couple of the clips in some of our old music videos I used to do
I
back in
remember.
the day.
Hmm.
But Angel Cop wasn't really that good. It was just a one-off, and it wasn't. It just was what it was. It was just
Right.
violent for the sake of being violent, which I have no
Hmm.
problem with. But it
Right.
wasn't a great story. So obviously, Ninja Scroll is a
Obviously.
must. If
Obviously.
anybody that doesn't have or have seen this may as well just stop now
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
just stop now. If you have not seen this, don't watch anything else until you watch this, because Ninja Scroll is that good. Moving right along, I'm putting Fatal Fury in there. I don't care what you guys say, because
Okay.
kids nowadays need to be educated. And if you think they don't have the attention span, you've seen Black Snake moan, chain them up to the daggone, chain them down to the couch and make them watch it, because Fatal Fury the motion picture. The first two OVAs weren't all that great. The
Hmm.
animation was cheesy and blah blah blah, but this was really good. The animation on this was really
Oh,
good,
wait a
and it
minute,
was
GQ. Stop. You saying it wasn't
what?
that great? What about that one scene where Terry was stone drunk and knocked dude out after he
I'm
kind of
just a
got woke up?
drunk.
Come on, I'm
That
just
was
a drunk.
but that was part of the
Yeah,
OVA, and it wasn't
yeah.
really that good. Like that wasn't really it wasn't great. That was just enjoyable. I have no problem with enjoyable, but it wasn't like great.
And Krauser was that
Moving on
dude.
to Fist of the
Yeah,
North
Fist of the North
Star,
Star. Yep.
out of print,
Mhm.
can't even get it anymore like this, but it's worth having.
Hmm.
The movie, none of the
Hmm.
series,
Not the
none of the other
series.
stuff.
The
The
series was
movie
just
itself was
stretched it
very
out too
very
long.
cool.
The series
Yeah,
just
the
stretched it
movie.
out way too long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was.
The
Yeah.
movie was awesome.
Hmm.
The fights were ridiculous. The amount of blood these guys had was ridiculous. The size changes on different people he fought was ridiculous. But
Hmm.
the movie was still good. So I know Dragon Ball's not supposed to be on here, but we
Movie
never
7.
said anything about movie
Movie
7.
7.
Also now
I'll
called Super
accept.
Android 13.
I will accept movie 7. I knew you was gonna talk
This
about it.
I concur.
this was the
My first Dragon Ball.
introduction to anybody that ever asked what Dragon Ball was.
You watched
This
that
is what we
movie.
put in.
Yep.
And we had an anime
Yep.
club going. We had this thing always ready to go, no matter
Mhm.
which meeting it was. Even if we watched it last week, doggone it, we was gonna watch it
Didn't
again.
matter.
This movie, if you need to ever introduce anybody to Dragon Ball Z, pick
Pop
this
in that
movie
movie.
up and
Pop in that
put it
movie.
in for 50 minutes and enjoy it. And wait
I
till the
mean,
fist jumps.
it immediately converted. I don't know how many people that came to the anime club just that were curious about what this whole thing was about. We threw in movie 7 and they were hooked. They were just like, oh, I'm coming back every week.
So
Literally.
that's one of the things that really cemented me in anime was movie 7. I remember getting the fan sub from a friend in high school.
Mhm.
They had movie 7 and 8 on it, but just like wow, you can do this in animation. What the hell have I been watching?
And last but not least, Street Fighter
Oh,
2.
of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
of course.
Street Fighter
Yes.
2 was the one that made it seem as if like they could do no wrong when it came to translating video games
Mhm.
to anime. This is what made everybody like love, for me, at my school when I went to school in Virginia. This is what made everybody like forget about that Street Fighter movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
Everybody started watching this. It was like, oh wait, hold on, you mean they actually followed the video game?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So pick this up. uncensored, uncut. If you want the Chung Lee boobs, which
Mm.
whatever. But
I
like
mean, which has lost its
this
appeal
was,
nowadays, but yeah,
oh,
but
of
whatever.
course. But this was awesome. Like
Yeah, it
this was
was.
like bar none one of the best video game
Yep.
animated movies ever.
Yeah.
No
They
one
even
saw it coming. Nobody
exactly.
saw it
Not
coming.
No.
only that, they put the last scene in as a bonus thing in Street Fighter Alpha, so you can fight against Bison with Ryu versus Ken. So
Yep.
come on,
Yeah.
come on,
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
that
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah. I have to
So
give you
that's
that,
my starter
man.
pack. That's what I would go with.
That's. I mean, no bad choices. There are no losers in this starter pack. I have to tell you, there absolutely are no losers in this starter pack. So I'm gonna get to mine. I'm gonna start with the one that kind of like really did it for me when I was coming back. I mean, yeah, I mean, movie 7 and Street Fighter 2, those were ones that made me seek out more. But when our boy Will brought over Rama one half for the first time, and I watched Rama one half for the first time, and it was about a martial arts boy that fell into a cursed spring, and anytime he splashed with cold water, he turns into a girl. What? Turns
Yeah,
into I
Rama
mean,
one half was
oh
that deal.
man, it was. I mean, it was a stroke of genius. It was brilliant. It's a brilliant show. I mean, they're all out of print now. They're all out of print now, and you can't pick them up, but you can still see it on Hulu. Ramo Half is still over there. It's they don't have all of the seasons dubbed because I think it's a licensing thing with Viz, but they have it all subbed. The entire thing is subbed. I don't know if the OVAs and the movies are there too. I'd have to look. So Rama one half was definitely one. Philip 2.0 put another one in there that kind of like really got me good and made me hooked. Guyver, the original Guyver OVAs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
That was
me
another
into
one I was
because
watching
it
with
was
my
like
dad.
because remember we were when we were younger in high school, that was when the Guyver movies came out. And I remember seeing the Guyver movie on channel 20. I think it was on channel 20. It was on channel 20 one time. It was like a complete direct to video deal, but it was
You mean
like
a
this
live
cool.
action one?
Yeah, the live action one. I'm talking about the live action one. And I thought it was kind of cool, but I didn't really realize it. And I was like, oh hey, it's starring JJ and Luke Skywalker. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let me watch this. And it was all right, but it wasn't the greatest thing. But when I saw the OVAs, when I saw the original Guyver OVAs, I was like, dude. Adobo girls in the chat. You need to educate your wife, man. She says, was the Guyver really that good?
Now see, I liked Guyver a lot when I
Mhm.
watched it. Not the live action movie,
And
the
she never
anime.
saw it. She never saw it. How shame
I
on you?
own it. I own Guyver.
I haven't watched it yet. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm just
but
kidding.
it ended abruptly, and that kind of perturbed me because growing
Yeah.
up, VHS, I saw like the first few episodes of VHS, and I never saw it. When it came out on DVD, I bought the DVD,
Hmm.
and then it got to the end, and they didn't finish the story, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But then they came out with a new Guyver not too
The
long
TV
ago. Now, I
series,
haven't watched
yeah.
that one.
I haven't watched that either, but I think they
26
did it.
episodes.
26 episodes, so they did it more. Of course, I'm going to in my starter pack, just for the maturity of it, I got to put in Gogo 13. The professional. I mean, even the professional,
Yeah.
the original movie. I have to put in the professional, and I will add. You can skip Queen Bee. Queen Bee really wasn't all that good to me.
No,
Really
it was
wasn't all
not.
that good.
No,
Queen
it
Bee
was
was
not.
not all that good.
No.
But you definitely need to see the professional, and you need to see that 50 episode TV series they did. Man, you'll be a fan of Gogo 13 for life. I guarantee you. So that's 3 for me.
Real quick, got to interrupt for a
Go
second.
ahead.
Quick news item. Just saw it on WWE Raw.
Mhm.
The fabulous Freebirds are the next inductees to the Hall of Fame. So they're finally going to put Michael P.H. Hay or P.S. Hayes, whatever it was. He's finally going to make it into the Hall of Fame.
Okay,
All right.
that's cool.
Been sitting there in his lime green suits and pretty much every induction
Right.
ceremony. He's finally going to get put in.
Right.
So I apologize. Please
Oh, no problem.
continue.
Thank
You
you.
were saying something about best intentions.
Yes. Well, no, I was saying I need to. No. What I'm going to put in there is that just to kind of diversify on some of this stuff, nobody's really picked a sports anime yet. So if I had to pick one, I would have to pick Hajime no Ippo because I mean just
Oh
because
boy,
Yes.
I knew you were
love
going with it.
yeah I mean, Ippo is the man. I mean, it's a good series. I mean, it's a really good series. It's lasted 3 seasons. It's had a couple of OVA specials, but it's a slice of life anime, but it's really action packed. It's you kind of feel, and even though Ippo's the main character, even the secondary characters kind of have a really nice starring role. I mean, they fill in a lot of stuff. I mean, Takamura is the man. Everybody loves that guy. He's kind of a boorish idiot. You love Aoki and Kimura. You like them. You like Kumi, his girlfriend. I mean, you like them all. I mean, it's a really likable cast. So I hope they do more anime and they continue the story because the manga's gotten pretty far.
And
Um,
it also does a great job of explaining boxing.
it does. It really
Yeah,
does. I mean,
it really
I
does.
mean, it kind of made me more of a fan of boxing than I used to be back in the day. I mean, yeah, if you liked Rocky for all the stuff that Rocky did, yeah, they hit all those notes that Rocky does sometimes, but they really kind of let you know or kind of get you to feel what it's like to be a boxer because it's like, you know, the weight training that they got to go through, just to keep the weight management and stuff like that, starving themselves and then, running still, dehydrating themselves almost to the point of like sickness, just to cut weight. I mean, man, that's some serious stuff, but it's also funny. So it'll appeal to a lot of people. I've had my kids watch it, so they actually, some of the jokes can be kind of, on the risque side, but it's nothing too bad, nothing too bad. And lastly on my list, just it might not be a popular pick for a lot of people, but I'd have to go with Sword Art Online because Sword Art Online I thought was good for the fantasy aspect of being trapped in a video game world and like literally if you die in that world you die in real life, and these people were trapped in the game for a couple years. It kind of really, while they were living their fantasy world, which we would all think sometimes would be actually be a good thing to happen. Life passed them by while they were basically asleep in a fantasy world. So it was. I thought it was a really good series to me. Yeah, maybe the original series was better than maybe even the sequels or anything else. Um, so yeah, like Poet of Fire just said, the original SAO was great, but the sequels not so much, and I have to agree with them on that. Now here's some ones that we didn't touch on that I thought we kind of that should be in the starter pack if you want to consider yourself kind of
Wait,
like a
real quick.
well-rounded.
If
Yeah.
they were stuck in a game, how did they eat?
Well, see, they all got taken to hospitals and they were basically fed intravenously for the next couple of years. So
So
even
they were
the
in the
main character, yeah. So
Matrix.
basically, when the main character woke up, all of his muscles had atrophied. Like literally, he lost everything in his muscles. Like he had to learn how to walk and stuff again. Didn't know how to eat. Solid food was difficult for him at first. It was kind of cool. But anyway, here's some of the stuff that we didn't get to that I thought we probably should have included in the starter pack that we could have. Macross should have been something like if you wanted to show what Robotech was really like instead of it just being kind of the carbon copy cut up stuff that we've been fed all of our lives. Um, Record of Lotus War. Nobody talked about that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
as
So,
far as like if you like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or anything like that, this was right up your alley. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, you would really like it because it was straight fantasy. It was like almost like they role played a session of Dungeons and Dragons and basically wrote it out as a book and then made it animated. That's pretty much what Record of Lotus War is. Um, Berserk. Nobody talked about Berserk as a starter pack
I completely
anime.
forgot about Berserk mainly because I think it was running to the ground with. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
love the series.
Hmm.
The movies was just a series retold again,
Hmm.
so I kind of forgot about Berserk.
Okay. Um, Here's another one that I don't think anybody really talked about was shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam, and maybe and
which one?
maybe well, and see, you bring up a good point, pessimistic, because maybe we should put Gundam in the same category as Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, because it did have its day over here. When Gundam Wing came out, it kind of really blew up. You saw the Gundam model kits in all the stores, like in Toys R Us and stuff like that. Of course, you don't see them now because Gundam isn't as popular as it used to be, at least not over here. But Gundam was kind of a big thing when it first came out.
Level
Um,
5 Gundam,
yeah,
4 hours.
right, right. Remember that commercial? Right, exactly, exactly. But so maybe Gundam wouldn't be the best choice, but I think that some of the other stuff that hasn't come out over here that people don't know about that are really serious, like forget, I think it was I forget, Unicorn hasn't come out over here. Oh, here's another one. Even though the anime never got as good as the manga did, History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi might have been a pretty good one.
Yeah, that was another really good martial arts anime. I really enjoyed that one. But that was another one where you had this weakling that just decided to, become stronger and didn't let that whole persona of anime weakness, you know, piece of
Hmm.
crap, take him over. I really like that one too.
Hmm. Does anybody else have any others that we kind of missed? Oh, here's one. Escaflowne. Escaflowne. We missed Escaflowne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Missed
I kind of missed
Escaflowne.
that one.
Yeah, we
But you
kind of
know
missed
which one I
Escaflowne.
missed that I would talk about? Project
Project
Echo.
Echo.
Project Echo.
Yeah,
Well,
Project Echo was another one I cut my teeth on, and as you guys, if you didn't know, my nickname comes from Project Echo. Biko, which was the antagonist, her
her
family name
father,
is
Daidakuji.
Daitakuji, but her father is the reason why I got this name because I think he was totally hilarious in Project Echo 2. He was a Tony Stark kind of person, except for his daughter invented everything, and he just kind of ripped it off. But his
Hmm.
daughter loved the father so much he could just do it whenever he wanted to, and she wouldn't even, bat an eye. But
Yeah.
I just thought he was a hilarious character.
Um. So yeah, I mean, there's the guys in the chat are kind of rattling off some of their favorite titles. Not necessarily. Some of them I wouldn't say are necessarily starter pack material, but this is really
Well,
good.
like what?
Well,
What are they saying?
like Saber Marionette J. I wouldn't put Saber Marionette J in there. Zerum the animation area. I wouldn't put that in there.
I
Dominion
liked
Tank.
Iria though. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked it enough when it was one of those also that came on Sci-Fi Channel a lot back then when Sci-Fi
Yeah.
just showed tons of anime. That
Hmm.
was the starter pack though, if you think about it, because Sci-Fi was the originator of the starter pack, showing
Yeah,
stuff that you'd never seen before. Vampire Hunter D, Iria was one of them.
but do you
Robot
remember?
Carnival.
You remember how bad they did Fatal Fury the motion picture
Yeah,
when
they
it came
kind of
out?
really screwed that
That
one
was
up.
really bad. I mean,
But
like
I
if
own
they're
Well,
going to
I
edit
own
it
here's the
that
Iria
thing.
bad,
on DVD because I liked it
But
that
yeah.
much.
but you got to remember what they were doing is they were taking what essentially looks like a cartoon with adult themes all throughout it. So
Uh
they
huh.
had to blur it out. They had to do, because essentially, regardless of what we knew it was still when the parents turned it on, they saw a cartoon on. Why
Hmm.
is this chick's like breast hanging out on this cartoon? So that's
Hmm.
essentially what you're running into. Another one I would have threw into the starter pack that I didn't mention was Tenjo Tenge. To me, that was one of the best martial arts animes of its time.
Well, you know what? And for you, not just it touched on all of your key points. Had beautiful women, big boobs, had lots of swordplay, had good martial arts. It hit all the notes, and plus it had a black character that wasn't no punk. Bob wasn't no punk, man. Bob wasn't no punk. He
No,
hung
he
he
was.
he hung with the crew. He hung with the crew. Oh, here's another one, man. It's in the thumbnail too. Gunsmith Cass. Gunsmith Cass
Oh
was another one.
yeah,
Gunsmith Cass
Gunsmith
was
And
Cat
another
was
one I
a
would have
good
put
and
in
one.
there.
and by
Yeah,
and by
And Ride
proxy,
and
Riding
Bean.
Bean.
And by
Yeah.
proxy, Riding Bing, exactly.
Running
Yeah,
Bean.
yeah, exactly. Those are ones I definitely put in the starter pack. But I know we had a kind of a technical difficulty, but we kind of hit the time frame right here. It's 11. It's about to be 11 o'clock, so we'll let you guys get on to bed. But real quick, let's preview tomorrow. Tomorrow we got another unboxing getting ready to come out. It's GQ's got a nice figure from Hot Toys, and it's an Avenger, and it's got lots of parts. It's very nice, very nice. I can't wait for you guys to see it tomorrow. And also we have on tomorrow's
10
live
o'clock in
stream.
the morning. Get up and watch it.
Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning. Get up and watch it. And 12 hours later, 10 o'clock at night, we'll be back with another episode of the live stream with a live episode of game. But if you want to know what we're going to talk about on game tomorrow and what we're going to kind of debate, follow us on Twitter. We're going to put it on our Twitter and announce what the topic is going to be. And we'll also put it out on our Facebook page. So make sure you kind of find us and like us there. So for all the fellas, for GQ, for Mr. Pessimistic, for Mike Bison, and for the great Dadakuji, I am Kishiro, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Take care, everybody. Watch
All
some
right.
anime out there.
Peace. Yeah.
Yes, do watch some anime.